Patriots Day, an American drama thriller about the 2013 Boston Marathon bombings and the subsequent terrorist manhunt. And it's directed by Berg, who also directed the very good Deepwater Horizon, which came out last year and was also based on true events. This may seem like a very late review, but Patriots Day was not released in the UK until the 23rd of February, and it's been released in other territories a lot longer. Mark Wahlberg plays a fictional character as a Sergeant Tommy Saunders, and he experiences the devastating attacks on the 15th of April 2013, and he then joins forces with the survivors, the first responders, and other investigators such as the FBI in a race against the clock to hunt down the suspects and bring them to justice. Mark Wahlberg's performance in this movie was very impressive. There are moments in this movie and I was like, wow, he's actually really good. And I'll be honest, I'm not a massive fan of Wahlberg as an actor, but he really did impress me in this film. He gave a really good, a very real and grounded performance. You know, you could see the emotions. Same goes for Kevin Bacon, John Goodman, and J.K. Simmons. They all give really good performances in this film. They all felt like real people. They felt real. You know, you could see they're experiencing these tragic events, and you could see and feel their pain, their frustrations, and their anger, and that was because of their performances. Right, I am a little surprised this movie came out so soon after the actual events. I remember watching these tragic events unfold on the news like many, and it only being in 2013. So I was a little surprised they did a movie based on these events so soon. I mean, maybe that's just me, I don't know, but still, this still feels very fresh and raw in my mind, and especially more so for those that experience these events as well. So for me, when this film coming out as soon as it was, for me it came across as this could have been a very exploitive movie, and there was a massive danger of this movie being exploitive. For me, mainly because of it coming out so soon after the events, and there was a danger that this could have just been an exploitive action film, and that's what I was afraid of with this film. But in a way, this movie, I felt, came out just at the right time. This was a very well crafted movie, a solid movie, and it did a very good job at conveying how good will always overcome and triumph over evil. It shows people running to the victims. They really focused on those moments after the attacks. And, you see the graphic scenes after the explosions, and it shows the people helping others and comforting others. It shows people running to help others, and it did a great job at conveying that message. A message that says, well, no matter how much evil there is in the world, there will always be so much more good and love in the world. And the film, for me, conveyed that message very well. Which also comes down to the very good direction from Berg, who has done a great job at crafting a very good, solid movie with a lot of respect. There was a danger this movie could have come across as glamorizing those tragic events and being quite exploitive. And it's a fear that it is a large fear that I had with this movie. But nope. This story, these events were told with a lot of respect for the survivors without turning it into an exploitive action thriller. I think Berg did this very well, but only just. Though it was very borderline, I felt. I feel like it came very close to becoming exploitive, and Berg did a good job of just steering away from that edge, but for me, it was very close. I found the movie to be quite intense, like very intense. The way in which Berg shot the scenes in this film and how he directed these scenes, he did a great job at creating the tension. I also found it, like a lot of people will, very emotional, and again that's going back to Berg doing a good job at conveying these messages in the film about good overcoming evil and showing a lot of respect for the victims and the survivors. And what I really liked was how they put the actual footage and photographs of the events on that very tragic day into this movie, in among the reenacted scenes. It all felt very seamless and added a certain, grittiness to the movie. I do feel like they needed to focus a little more on certain characters, mainly the terrorists. Both were played very well by the actors, but I feel they should have focused a little more on them, fleshed them out a little more, such as motives, backgrounds. Same goes for other certain characters in the film, but I do feel like it needed to, more so on the sort of terrorists. I think they needed to sort of flesh them out a little more, focus on them a little more, with the background and that. Also, the ever so slight injection of humour in this movie made me cringe a little. I felt like it kind of didn't work, and in a way was slightly distasteful, or could be to certain people. What I'm referencing is certain one-liners, or a scene in which someone does something, and it was shot or performed in a way to try and bring a tiny little bit of humour and maybe give you a slight chuckle. And for me, this did not work, and they could have done without it. There was, it was very minor, but for me, it stood out. And I'm not talking in your face humour. It was sort of subtle, just someone saying a witty one-liner, for example. And it just never felt natural. It didn't fit into the moment or the scene, and it felt like it was just stuck in there. Not sure if that's just me. Let me know below. But that ever so slight injection of humour in this film that was sort of scattered throughout. I mean, it was very few. I mean, I think from the top of my mind, I think there was only 4 moments. But it really did stood out, and I really didn't like it. Which I suppose leads me into the script. It was a little patchy in places. The script in places was very patchy, very clunky, and just didn't feel natural enough. But overall, the script was okay. It just added odd clunky moments, I felt, which at times made me cringe. Those moments being just the general banter and chit chat with Wahlberg's character mainly. For me, it was the very good, and I mean very good, performances from the cast. Wahlberg, J.K. Simmons, John Goodman. I mean, John Goodman, a small part in the film, but he was really good. And the careful, solid direction from Peter Berg, that was this film's, biggest positives, for me anyway. There was this very powerful scene in this movie for me. There was a couple of moments within the same scene. One that really did affect me emotionally. The entire movie was an emotional experience. I was affected emotionally right throughout. But there was this one moment of a sheriff or some officer. I'm not entirely sure if he was who he was. I think he was a sheriff. But he has to stand by this child's body. Just stand by this body and protect it. And I'm not going to say too much about this scene, but I found it very, very powerful. It really sort of touched me here, and it said so much, and it had a very powerful message, this scene. And this message, it didn't have dialogue, action, or explosions. It was a message, it was a shot, or moments of these shots with so much imagery in them, and it had so many, it's such a powerful message within these shots, and it was heartbreaking. So yeah, a very powerful movie, crafted very well by Berg, with a really good performances from the cast. Also really like the score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. It added a little grittiness to the film. It sounded very hypnotic, if anything. It absorbed you in. It was noisy and mostly electronic, and it helped give this uneasy sensation throughout the film. And I really liked the score. In fact, I found it also very moving. I liked the powerful messages that it conveyed very well, with people getting together and running to help others. and an entire city coming together in the face of evil and terror, and I think the movie conveyed that very well. You know, I will be giving Patriots Day a B+. Thank you guys again for watching. I really do appreciate it. My next review will be for Kong Skull Island. I will be seeing that tomorrow night. Going straight after work tomorrow night. I'm really looking forward to it. It's one of my anticipated films of 2017. So yeah, I look forward to bringing you a review for that for the weekend. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. What did you think of Patriots Day? Let me know below. Do you agree or disagree with anything I said about the movie? Let me know below. And if you like what you see and you share the same passion, why not hit subscribe and follow me on my journey?